Just a heads up, there might be spoilers, so spoiler alert. So, I bought my ticket for Rise of Skywalker, and I realized for the first time ever, I was not excited to see a Star Wars film. That is the damage that The Last Jedi did to many people. I might make a video about the flaws of The Last Jedi later because my list differs in many ways from the typical complaints. Anyway, so I went to see Rise of Skywalker, and if it wasn't deemed the final chapter, I don't know if I would have ever gone to see it at all. I really hate Rian Johnson for taking that magic away from me. But I went and saw it. I figured there's no possible way it could be worse than The Last Jedi. Plus, J.J. Abrams knows how to handle massive film productions. Rian Johnson never did before, which is why it feels like the world's most expensive student film. After watching Rise, I didn't want to make any knee-jerk judgments, so I pondered it further. In the end, I can't say that I hated the movie, but I also can't say that it blew me away. Yes, it was a million times better than the last piece of shit, but it lacked certain elements. Unfortunately, I found that I still don't care about the characters of Poe, Finn, or Rose. Not at all. After 3 movies, there is still nothing that makes those characters appealing. Their arcs were boring, and they lacked any development whatsoever along the way. There was also never any closure for the horrible Rose-Finn relationship, and even worse than that, they hinted Finn was going to reveal his feelings to Rey, and yet they never even saw that through either. There was no closure for Finn, any of his arcs whatsoever. However, I really liked how they managed to incorporate Leia. The footage they used worked nicely, and it was a great send-off for Carrie Fisher. Lando Calrissian's return was also a very welcome addition. Billy D. Williams' charisma still shines through even at his age. Luke as a Force ghost gave Abrams the opportunity to repair much of the damage left behind by Johnson. I would have liked to have seen more of him, but I'm happy we got that much. And who can't be happy to see Harrison Ford reprise the role of Han Solo one final time? What an unexpected surprise given all the things that Harrison Ford has said throughout his career. Now, The Emperor's Return, however, missed a major opportunity because it felt so tacked on and he didn't do anything other than talk. He didn't look right either. He looked different than the Emperor from past films. And that's probably because they didn't use the same prosthetics and makeup and whatnot, but I don't know why they wouldn't. But he just didn't look right. He's not supposed to be a wizard from Harry Potter. He is a Lord of the Sith, and the entire Sith audience sequence was not very Star Wars-like at all. But back to the newer characters. I do admit I really enjoyed both Rey and Kylo's arc throughout all 3 films. Their growth and their dynamic together was fantastic. Their relationship and what it meant felt very much like Star Wars and the space opera it was always intended to be. Fixing Rey's lineage was important too. She had to be someone close to the main storyline for it to matter. Some random character made no sense in a Skywalker saga film. But when it came to the action sequences, I found that many just weren't very engaging or interesting at all, especially in the beginning of the film. Felt as if they were just filler and not integral to anything because I didn't care about the outcome of the action. But the biggest disappointment in terms of the action came in a major lightsaber battle. It took me a second to realize what the scene was missing to be more exciting. Then I realized they're having a lightsaber battle, but there was no music set to it. It was a lightsaber battle set to a beautiful, beautiful backdrop of waves splashing against the ship, but it was missing the signature Star Wars music that makes these lightsaber battles so exciting. And it was obvious how much Star Wars relies on its beautiful soundtracks to drive the action. Like the other 2 films in the new trilogy, it misses the Star Wars design aesthetic. If you look back at the other films, Star Wars is basically minimalist, but these 3 films are very cluttery visually. This makes them feel less like they belong in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian understands this aesthetic, which is why it does such a great job feeling like a Star Wars show. But don't mistake what I'm saying as there's nothing good at all. This movie is not all bad by any means. There are some really great character moments in the film, and some that even fix a few of the problems left behind by that last disastrous film. Fortunately, after watching it, it feels more like a direct sequel to Force Awakens than The Last Jedi. That could simply be because literally nothing of importance happened in The Last Jedi other than Luke's death. The rest is if Rian Johnson spun a wheel of concept ideas, but I'll take it because that means I can skip The Last Jedi whenever Star Wars marathons are in order. In the end, The Rise of Skywalker was a decent chapter in Star Wars, but by no means was it the pulse-pounding, tear-jerking, climactic chapter it should have been for the Skywalker saga. I give Rise of Skywalker 7 out of 10 stars. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for future content.